Apex a bit soon. Stay up. That's it. Out we go. In. Apex as well. Oh, we missed the apex there. Let's go out. Right out the concrete. Latch out in fourth gear. Third gear. Fourth down. Nearly 5 out. Welcome to another episode of repairs to this poor old Triumph 2500 Mark 1. The motor is finished. It's ready to come off the stand, so that's what we'll be doing. Get the engine off the stand. There's a Welsh plug at the back of the engine I have to replace, then the flywheel and the clutch, and then the gearbox. So let's get on with that. Alrighty then, next job, I'm going to take this backing plate on so I can get to the back of it to put a Welsh plug in. I didn't have it at the time that I put this on. Alrighty, it's time to get this flywheel on. See how we go with that. Can only go one way, there's a locating pin. Well, it's time to put the clutch on. I've got an old input shaft to line the clutch plate up, and it's all new. It didn't have written on it flywheel side like most of them do or used to, so I had to work that out. Hopefully I've got that right. And alright, let's get the clutch on. Oh, I'll just have to find the tension setting and tension them up. Alrighty, that is all that done. It's now a matter of putting it on the ground and putting the gearbox on. So let's get on with that. Well, it's time to put the gearbox on the engine. In fact, I've actually done it. Before I turned the camera on, I was just lining it up and it went straight on. And I'm not about to take it off to free film putting it back on, because I've had some nightmares putting these on over the years. So, we'll live with that. So now it's a matter of doing all the bolts up, getting that sort of bell housing bolted up the engine, and then moving on to a few other doodads before we get around to putting it in the car. Well, the gearbox is back on the engine, all bolted up and ready to go. All looking pretty good. It's time to put this starter motor on. My goodness, it's heavy. Okay, next job. Putting this gearbox cross member on. So let's get on with that then. I don't know that there's that much more to do. In fact, I can't think of anything more to do. I gotta put oil in the gearbox and then it's ready to go into the car. By gum, my goodness. Joy and happiness. Well, that's about it. This engine and gearbox are ready to go in the car. I've just got to put the oil in the gearbox and we'll be ready. So let's get on with that. Well, it's time to get this engine into this car. Now, first up, the car is sitting on axle stands, but it's too low. It's as high as I can get it, but it's still too low to wheel the engine in under the front here. So I need to get the car up, and then the engine under, car back down. So I hooked the engine hoist up to a piece of steel that goes across the engine bay, and I'll just lift the car up a bit. It feels very dodgy when I do this, but I've done it a few times now over the years, so nothing untoward has ever happened or even looked like happening, but it feels a bit dodgy, but we'll do it nevertheless. So let's get on with it. Alright, we're ready to lift this engine up in the engine bay. Our pace to check everything and check again. Years upon years ago I was doing this with the dolly, except the dolly engine was going in from the top. Now that means getting the engine up pretty high in the air and on a pretty big angle on the dolly to get it to go in. Well, I didn't have an engine hoist at the time. I borrowed one. And in the process of transporting it from a friend's place to my place, it was disassembled. When we reassembled it, we didn't do it properly. And anyway, the whole thing came crashing down, and the engine hit the front of the dolly and put a dent in it and landed on the ground, requiring it to be pulled apart and checked. And it was only luck that somebody, me or the old man, weren't sort of in the area where it fell. So you got to be lucky sometimes in life, but in this case I think we're pretty safe. Everything's done up and there's not very far for it to fall anyway. So let's get this engine up to where it belongs. Well, that's the engine and gearbox in the car physically. The front cross member that holds the engine in and the gearbox cross member are all done and dusted, and it's physically in there. So that's about the end of this episode, so tune in, same duck time, same duck channel, for more mechanical mayhem on this poor old Triumph. When you'll see me probably mucking around at the back of the gearbox there, putting the tail shaft on, speedo drives, blah blah blah, and I don't know, just keep putting stuff on. So bye for now.